Algebra 1, Chapter 2, Section 3, Solving Inequalities. In this case, we're going to use multiplication and division. A lot of the same stuff that we've already done. There's going to be one little difference that we will get to here in just a minute. But if I were to take a question just like this, just very basic, 6x is greater than or equal to 12. Because the 6 and the x are compressed together, nothing in between them, that means multiplication. And so I'm going to divide both sides by 6, and that gives me an answer of x is greater than or equal to 2. And then again, if you had to graph that on a number line, which we're doing a lot of number line graphing, you would just create your 0, 2, and negative 2. And that's greater than or equal to, so that is a closed circle. And greater than is an arrow to the right. So with division, we might actually see something like this. And so because we have x divided by 4, the inverse of division is going to be multiplication. And so we're going to multiply both sides by 4. And that gives me a value of x is less than 48. Again, if we had to put that on a number line, again, I don't want you drawing 0 to 48, so just real simple. Here would be 0. There's 48. There's negative 48, just giving me a reference point. And so that's less than, so that's an open circle with an arrow to the left. So next I want to do one with a fraction. So maybe I had 2/3 x is greater than or equal to 8. So in this case, I've got to get rid of the 2 and the 3. And rewinding back to chapter 1, the way we did this is we actually divided by 2/3, which would end up being multiplication, because when we divide fractions, we keep it, change it, flip it. So we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 2/3. The reason we do that is so the 3 cancels, the 2 cancels, and I'm left with x is greater than or equal to. Going to change this to 8 over 1. 8 times 3 is 24 over 2, and 20 over 2 is going to be, or 24 over 2 is going to be 12. I could have also...
Hello, Basic Middle School. Trayton Jabbersack, your ride is here. Please make your way to the front office. Trayton Jabbersack. Thank you.
Okay, a little interruption there, sorry. I could have also canceled that 2 into the 8 4 times, and then 4 times 3 gives me 12. However you want to do that. And I'm not going to spend as much time graphing at this point because we are well fluent in graphing. So now here's the little wrinkle. Now what if I have a negative number? Okay, if I have a negative number and I divide it by a negative number, I, at this point, have to flip the inequality sign. So I'm going to write this out. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must, and I am yelling, obviously I'm not spelling, that rhymed, I know, I'm that cool. You must flip the inequality sign. must. Okay? So again, in this case, I'm not going to spend too much time graphing. I want to do a few more of these problems. I could have something like that, where instead of this case just multiplying by 4, I'm going to multiply by negative 4. Okay, a little bit of pause there. I'm sorry, I had to receive or take a phone call. I'm not exactly sure where I was, but I do know I was multiplying both sides by negative 4. And the reason I do that is the 4's cancel, and then the negative times the negative makes that a positive. And so that's going to give me x. And remember from our screen before, if we multiply, in this case, by a negative number, we must flip the inequality sign. So I'm going to flip that. I'm going to flip greater than or equal to less than or equal to. And 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So let's do one also that has that fraction on it. So let's do negative 3/4 z is greater than or equal to 9. So because it's a fraction, I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. In this case, the reciprocal of negative 3/4 is 4 over negative 3. I'm going to go ahead and make that 9 into a fraction just so it gives me something easy to work with. 4's cancel, negative 3's cancel. That leaves me with z. Again, I multiplied by a negative fraction, so that changes my inequality to less than or equal to. That's going to end up giving me, let's see, it's going to be a negative answer. 3 is going to go into the 9 3 times. So that's 12 over negative 1, which just ends up being negative 12. Again, it doesn't matter what the answer is. It doesn't matter that the answer is negative. It matters that I multiplied by a negative to flip that sign. So that is Chapter 2, Section 3, Solving Inequalities with Multiplication and Division.